Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a nonprofit exec tells all. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Incite Consulting. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. As always, I'm here to share some hard earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. So, a little about me. I spent 25 years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now, I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits, like yours, have the structure, systems, and practices to do your best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a space to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you breathe, laugh, smirk, and get excited again about the important work that you do. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most fascinating and important topics, in my opinion, in the nonprofit world: understanding donor motivation. So, why do people give? What's going on in their hearts, their minds, and even their social circles when they decide to make a gift? And how can nonprofits use this insight to connect with donors more authentically? As I often say, people give for their reasons, not yours. Understanding those reasons is the difference between a one time donation and a lifelong partnership, a partnership that should outlive your tenure with the organization. So, I want to first talk about core psychological drivers. At the foundation of giving are two important forces: altruism and moral obligation. Altruism is that selfless desire to make the world better without expecting anything in return. Think of the person who donates anonymously to disaster relief, not looking for their name in lights, just hoping their gift helps. Moral obligation is a little different. It's about values and duty. For some donors, giving isn't optional, it's just simply the right thing to do, like a community member who tithes faithfully to their congregation, or a parent supporting the local youth sports program because that's what good neighbors do. I once heard from a lifelong donor who said, "My grandmother always told me, if you see someone hungry, feed them." That stuck with me. Giving isn't about feeling good, it's about doing what's right. But human motivation isn't one dimensional. Alongside altruism, egoism and personal satisfaction often play a role. Many donors experience the quote unquote helper's high, that sense of joy after making a difference. Others appreciate recognition, like seeing their name on a donor wall, or they give to build a legacy that outlives them. And here's the important point: egoism doesn't lessen the value of giving. Instead, it highlights the opportunities nonprofits have to align donor fulfillment with mission impact. When you understand both the selfless and the self interested sides of giving, you can engage supporters in authentic, lasting ways. So, now let's talk about how social dynamics help to shape giving. Human beings are wired for connection, and philanthropy is no exception. One of the strongest motivators is peer influence. When people see friends, colleagues, or community leaders supporting a cause, it sparks the instinct to join in. That's why public recognition, like donor walls or shout outs at events, works. It validates generosity within a peer group. That's also why social media fundraisers spread so quickly. People give because people give. The other big factor is community belonging. Donors want to feel like insiders, not just outsiders tossing coins into a well. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Nonprofits can nurture this by creating meaningful volunteer opportunities, hosting events that celebrate collective impact, and consistently communicating that every donor is a vital part of the story. Belonging isn't just a warm, fuzzy bonus, it's a strategy. When people feel like they truly belong, their loyalty deepens, their advocacy grows, and their support lasts. So let's talk a little about building trust and transparency at your organization. So even with strong motivation, donors need reassurance, and that reassurance comes from trust. Without it, enthusiasm fades and retention rates plummet. So, how do nonprofits build trust? First, through honesty and clear communication. Share openly where funds go. Answer tough questions about overhead or program effectiveness. And don't just highlight successes. Share what you learned when things didn't go as planned. Second, through storytelling. Donors don't give to spreadsheets, they give to stories. Whether it's the story of a youth who thrived with mentorship or a family lifted by a food pantry, stories make impact tangible. Pair those stories with numbers that are easy to grasp, like $50 provides school supplies for 3 children, and suddenly giving feels real, immediate, and powerful. Trust and storytelling together transform fundraising from transactional to relational. Let me say that again. Trust and storytelling together transform fundraising from transactional to relational. That's where real loyalty lives. And we've got some barriers that we need to overcome in order to get to this reality for your organization. So here's the reality. Even the most inspired donor can walk away if the giving process is clunky. That might be your organization. That's why simplifying the donor journey is so critical. Keep forms short, mobile friendly, and intuitive. Offer multiple payment options and make recurring giving easy already. One donor once put it simply, if I have to think about it, I'm likely not going to do it. We need to respect your donor's time and emotional energy by making giving easy. And it's more than a convenience, it's a sign of respect. So I want you to think about applying donor psychology in your organization. So putting all this into practice, it's easy if we think about it in one word: segmentation. Every donor has their own mix of motivations. Some give out of a sense of duty, some want recognition, some want measurable results. If we treat all donors the same, we miss opportunities to connect more deeply. For example, altruists respond to stories of need and transformation. Impact seekers crave data and outcome reports. Social donors thrive on recognition and events. Legacy-minded donors want to know how their gift will live on. Tailoring messaging to each group makes donors feel seen, and when they feel seen, they stay engaged. So here's the bottom line. Every act of giving is rooted in a unique blend of values, motivations, and aspirations. When we, as fundraisers and nonprofit leaders, approach our work with curiosity and humility, we unlock more than generosity. We unlock lasting donor engagement. Remember, giving isn't about making a donation. It's about making a difference. So practice empathy, be transparent, personalize your outreach, and above all, honor the reasons your donors give, not just the reasons you wish they would. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope this conversation helps you build deeper, more authentic relationships with your donors. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a colleague or board member who's gearing up for year-end fundraising. Make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms, including YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And for additional resources and tools, follow me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website at inciteconsultinggroup.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and keep making a difference. Have a great week.